Hey there, young married women. If you ain't pregnant yet, you need to be busy getting pregnant, darling. That is what you should be doing right now. Getting knocked up and having some babies for your wonderful, loving husband. Um, I was very grateful that I had two, and then I had a little break, and then I had two more. It was like back to back, and it worked out really well. I had the older two help me with the younger two a little bit, and but my whole youth was filled with children, you know, taking them to the park, taking them to the pool, cooking, cleaning, nap time, story time, art, library visits, the beach, you know, all kinds of those wonderful things, teaching. Um, we had so much fun at the parks. You know, we'd play hide and seek, we do this, we do that. And it was a really blessed childhood for my children and for me. And I was so grateful that my husband provided me that opportunity. That was my job, you know. And again, you guys know that I was able to volunteer in the kids' schools for like 20 years. You know, read those kids' stories, go on field trips with them, you know, all those kind of wonderful things. And sometimes, every once in a while, I think, oh, I wish my husband could be here for this award ceremony or this concert, you know, and I think I'm so lucky I can be here because there were kids there looking for their mama who couldn't come because they had to work. So anyway, but my point is that, you know, now that the kids are older, everybody's over the age of 18. They still need me for certain things, but it's so different from when they were younger and they needed my constant attention. Um, my youngest sister just had her baby. He is now 5 months old, a little bit older than that, about 5 months. And she just turned 35. So she's very lucky and blessed that she was able to have this child. And it wasn't easy. So, you know, I'm not going to get on her too much here on YouTube, but you know, I did tell her for years that, hey, this would be a great time, you know. And when she was 28, I was like, this is a great time, you know, like right now. And I gave her all the stats and I told her, just saying, I did let her know. So you don't think that I was a bad big sister. You best believe that I've been lecturing my sisters for years, and younger women that I know. And instead of having babies at 28, she went back for her MBA. She already had a degree. She's an engineer, um, you know. But anywho, so, but I'll tell you what, she be tired, and she cannot wait for her baby to sleep through the night. And you know, I told her, I said, well, you know, when we were in our 20s, and a lot of women, you know, you could stay up all night, party, and still go to your classes or go to work or whatever. Um, that energy was really meant for babies. That ability to stay up all night and still function. That's why God gave you that, not to party, but to have children and be able to take care of your children and not feel like a zombie. Um, you know, and I had plenty of those nights, rocking sick children to sleep, you know, all those kinds of things, fussy kids, kids with nightmares, you know, there's all kinds of things that happen when you have children and you do not get a lot of sleep. Um, but when you're younger, in your 20s, it's so much easier to handle than in your 30s, 40s. I mean, my goodness, I can't even imagine. So, you know, if you're a young woman, certainly between 20 and 30, oof, boy, especially if you're over 25, you need to get cracking like now. You need to be trying to get knocked up and have you some babies and let that be the main focus of your life. You can spend, you know, it takes about 20 years to raise a little handful of children, okay? After 20 years, listen, you can do whatever you want. You've got the rest of your life to fulfill some sort of goals, or like, you know, I do my little videos and things like that. Um, and I've been doing them for about 10 years, but incredibly part-time. Obviously, as you guys can tell, I've never monetized my channel. I've never given myself that kind of pressure. I would just tell stories as I came across and I learned and pass on the information. You know, there'd be times where I didn't do videos for a while. And as you guys know, had plenty of channels canceled anyway. But so it's easier when your kids are older, to spend a little more time with a good cause. Like trying Titus 2, the older women are supposed to instruct the younger women. I don't think it hurts to try to be a good example as a younger woman, but if you're making it a career instead of raising children, you're wasting your time. What's the point? And I've seen some other content creators. One of the gals I had tried to talk to and work with was Feminine Fancy. She talked trash about Mr. Samuels, but whatever. Talked trash about me, actually, but it's whatever. And, at first I thought, oh, wow, superficially, so pretty. Nice dresses, trying to teach girls, women how to be feminine. Then I found out she's 30 and like single, and she ain't in a hurry to get married or have kids and don't want that pressure. And like the modern woman came out immediately once a couple questions were asked. So is that really a great example? Not really. I mean, yeah, you could learn some feminine surface tips from women like that. But as far as how to actually get a husband, get married, and have children, no. Then you've got other ones that are older, like Adrienne Everhart. And the last so many videos that I've seen of hers are like, everything's a filter. And I'm like, I'm not going to take advice from women that use filters all the time. It's like, you got to be you. Just be you. But whatever. God bless. But I don't. Also, she sells a course. She tells women that if they're not happy with the way things are going, just to ghost a guy for like months, don't, no contact. And I'm like, psh, it's horrible advice. If she wants that man, she needs to go after him and compete for him, because he's going to replace her. There's more women than men. So anyway, they kicked me off their page on Facebook, but whatever. So it's just, man, it's hard to get good advice out there. And I guess that's why, like, it's never been about money for me. It's never been about like, oh, I got to get my fame and fortune. And it's like, whatever, you find me, great. It was annoying to have a lot of subs and many views on my videos and then have it all taken away because of haters. But, apparently it's just par for the cause. But my motivation has always been just give people the raw, honest truth, good, bad, and the ugly, and try to help someone, try to help women understand that they've really been led astray as to how to set up their life, how to guide their life, what their priorities should be, and, your purpose here as a man and a family. So that's what you need to do first. Everything else will work itself out. And so many have this idea that, okay, I want to be a traditional woman, but they still think they're equal with men. They think that if you get down to it, that they can do anything a man can do, and all these types of things, maybe minus a couple things. But for the most part, they don't really understand how literally everything around us is built by men, is sustained by men, and the whole society would just collapse if men decided to check out and they're like, we're done, or when the shit does hit the fan, it's funny because I was just thinking today how women are so into these purses and their shoes and the nails and the eyelashes and the hair and all this stuff that is so superficial, and they spend thousands of dollars on this stuff. And it's like, if you knew the collapse that's coming, if you knew the food shortages that were coming, if you knew how everything was just going to fall apart, you would not be like, I need a man that makes six figures and he's got to buy me this kind of bag and we got to go here for this, I need to go to this kind of restaurant for this kind of date and blah, blah, blah. He's got to drive this kind of car. Girl, shoot. You'd be looking for a man that just worked hard and could protect you, and you guys could build something together and survive. It wouldn't be all this insane superficial stuff, which I thought people would wake up after COVID, the women, I should say. Men always. Men know. They know. They know. Believe me, they know. They've been saying the barbarians are inside the gate for a long time. Um, but I thought women would wake up after COVID and realize how temporary everything is, and how I was like, dude, there were women that couldn't get Botox during during the COVID, that they were losing their minds. Their lips were deflating, their faces were sagging, and they were freaking the F out. I mean, they had, gray hair and this and that, and it was absolutely insanity. And some men realized what their women looked like because they couldn't go get all their stuff done. So again, I really, the people that run things want you to think everything's fine and dandy. Just keep being a big consumer, spend all your money, when you should be looking past all the BS and what really matters. And, I'm still a believer in, we have to try to create families and keep civilization going. A lot of men are like monk mode. They're like, forget it. I don't even want to have a legacy. I don't even want kids. And I don't blame them at all for that. You know, but again, I've got my own children in our family. And the Bible says that we're basically born in these last days for a purpose. We're supposed to be the salt and light of the earth, to give hope to a lost and dying world. So we're supposed to have children to praise God, to show other people that positive is still possible. And I know it's a lot of pressure for some kids, but it's kind of like Esther said, I'm here for such a time as this, or something like that. But anyway, so it's just, the older you get, the harder it is with children and with family. And for the women that think that 20-something's too young to get married, no way. The older you get, the more set in your ways that you get, the more independent you are, the harder it is. You become more rigid. Instead of being like pliable and flexible, where a man can mold and shape you to him, you become very rigid, and it's hard for you to change anything about yourself. And I was telling my other sister, you're supposed to be under headship, either under your husband, your father, or your husband. You're not supposed to be out here on your own. And so many women that I know that didn't want to be told what to do, left their families, left their husbands, left their children. And they're doing what they want, all right, and they're suffering. I have friends who didn't eat for practically a month straight, and just drank every single day, and then their ex-husband had to come and save them. I mean, and then they still couldn't stay, even though they provided a room and then a home, and here's the kids, and it's heartbreaking. Alcohol and any kind of substances really does not make you a better person. It really doesn't, especially women. My whole life, I've known women that just drink too much. They start early. There's no rules. Every single play date involves wine, and they get drunk. Who's watching the kids? I mean, there's been a lot of accidents that have happened. People hitting people's cars, driving into ditches. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that I have seen that, I'm not going to incriminate people, but it's bad. It really is bad. And all that comes from not being under submission, under subjection, and listening to those in authority. You just think you can do whatever you want, and it's like they're in a perpetual state of teenagehood, teenageness, whatever you call it. And a man and children are supposed to help you grow up. The responsibility of having the children should make you grow up, but especially the man training you. But if you think you already know everything and you're untrainable and unteachable, then you're really going to be stuck, and everyone's going to be miserable. So, I guess I'm sort of rambling now, but I just, it's so frustrating. And you can watch people and say, it's getting, years are getting up there. You might want to think about having some babies. And they just think, I got all the time in the world. I know a number of girls that are 30, and I give credit to the fact that, as far as physically appearance or physically appealing, women can look better today than in my generation past. Like, my grandparents looked really old at 54, right? They had gray hair. I mean, like the whole deal. Like, people look better younger now, but it doesn't change the biology and the biological clock. So they feel like they're still kids, like they're in their 20s and they're not ready to get married and have children. And I'm like, oh, baby, 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 it's time. It's getting time. And, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And all I can do is say, okay, but I did tell you. So anyway, Maui's barking. Maui! And it's like, you can't, I'd like to shake them, but it's like, could you just watch a fast forward image in your mind of where you're going down this road? And if 35 is geriatric pregnancy, how easy do you think it's going to be to have a baby when you finally want to have a baby? And I've had women just go off on me. You shouldn't say that to women. I know women that have had babies that were totally fine at 42 and 50 years old. And I'm like, well, congratulations. That's the exception. That's not the rule. That's not the basic, the natural biology of things. It's most women have healthier children in their early 20s. Okay. So it's just sad. It's this whole don't tell women anything that's going to hurt their feelings thing has done women so much damage. And women are doing it to women. And I've told women on their pages and stuff, like, you're doing women more harm than good by telling them these false things that you can go ask an obstetrician and they'll tell you geriatric pregnancy starts at age 35. The eggs are chromosomally damaged. 90% by age 40, so it's like a sliding scale down, and just not helping anybody. And there's no greater regret than seeing a 40-something-year-old woman, which I have those friends, and they missed the opportunity for a husband and children, and the regret that they have. They drink themselves to sleep every night and they cry. And the younger women just scoff, like, oh, that's not going to be me. Listen. Keep doing what you're doing. It is going to be you. But, again, if you're a young lady under 30, you'll really need to get having some babies. Earlier in your 20 to 25, that range is the best. You'll have the most energy and you'll have the healthiest children, healthiest pregnancy, and that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. So get married first, but, have you some babies. And then they grow up. And it's amazing because, our older boys are in their 20s and they hang out with us, they play cards with us. We do a lot of things together. And it's such a blessing. So it's like, don't you think you're going to love your children? Don't you want them for the longest amount of time possible in your life? Well, then why would you want to wait till you're like 40 years old? Your kid's going to be 10 and you're going to be 50. They'll be 20 and you'll be 60, knocking on death's door. I mean, it's just like, why? Why would you want to do that to yourself? So, as far as the women go, men can be older, but, whatever. So anyway, all right, good luck, guys. But my daddy's working and I love him so much and I'm so grateful because we had some issues with our stupid mortgage company because they're morons. But he's like, listen, basically it was one of those things like, don't you worry your pretty little head off. You do your job, And I'm like, yes, Daddy. And I know what my jobs are. And he's like, you do that. You don't worry about any of this other stuff. And I'm so grateful because he has such a good job and he makes such good money. And, I know we'll be fine. It just, these things become so overwhelming to me that it'll mess up my whole body cycle and everything. Like, I can't deal with the pressure. And, like I've heard many great men say, pressure, the burden or pressure, either one is not made for hips, it's made for shoulders or something like that. Anyway, but hope you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. And there's more things, but I'll try to do one tomorrow. And I'd love to know what kind of questions you guys have. And, I think that with everything, like the manosphere right now and stuff, everything needs a house cleaning. There's a time when you got to go through and just clean house and say, okay, this is good, this is not good, whatever. Listen, and I'm just here to support everybody. I don't need anything from anyone. I'm very grateful for the support and the love that I've gotten from many people that have given me a little, given me my little credit for being a true submissive wife and being married to my husband for all these years, and been on here long enough, telling my stories long enough, and sharing long enough that people know that I am me. This is what we are. This is who we are. This is who I am. Mama Radha, don't fake the front. I don't need to. So, but I know that the new guys, they're like, it's another one. They don't know. Literally, that's what the number 6 stands for. 6 channels later. They don't like me. So I am saying something correct. But anyway, it's okay. And as long as they don't get too annoyed with me explaining who I am, then I'll keep doing it and keep leaving my support. There's only been like 2 channels that were like, we don't even allow women to comment here. I was like, ooh, okay, my bad. I'm thinking I'm helping with the algorithm, and they're like, we don't care. I'm like, okay, gotcha, no problem. So that's fine, and I understand that the male space is for the male space. Wherever people allow me to give my support, then I give my support. Some of the conversations are even too much for me to listen to. They're too raw, and it's just like, ooh, okay, that's too much for me. But I've learned so much, and I appreciate the harsh truth. So I'll keep listening, and I will keep supporting. And you guys already know I've got a long list of wonderful content creators, men that have just taught me so much in my life. And of course, starting with my husband, and well, he's not a content creator, but you know what I mean. Anyway, my teachers. So I'm grateful. And I learned a lot of statistics and a lot of just actually scientific information from Monday Chronic, which is funny, right? But I think he's actually a bioengineer. But in any case, I know he's going through a hard time right now, stupid PayPal and people trying to dox him and all sorts of nonsense. I give him support. I used to call him my red pill son. And then Ribby was my next one. God bless, Ribby the party frog. So anyway, all these guys are great. They pour their hearts out and try to give information and try to be there for all the young men that are just kind of lost and floundering in the world, because society and women treat you like you're nothing until you're older and you've accomplished something. So anywho, blah blah blah. Have a great night, guys. Lots of love. Talk to you soon. And y'all young women, get having some babies. All right, ciao.